And the first issue that you may run into is there's no power to the control. No power on the top board and the displays, and no power for your switches. First thing I would do is look to the power supply board. That is the board in the top and the back. Your main power will come into the screws on the left. So first thing to do is make sure you have power coming to the control. And you can measure power on the two screws there. And that will be a alternating current voltage. The top and bottom screw is going to be your L1 and then the other one will be L2 or neutral. It can be hooked up either 110 or 220 or a range of voltage in between. Measuring 122 volts. So this one's hooked up to 120 volts. The middle screw is going to be your ground screw. So first thing, make sure you have power coming to the control. The next thing to check is the main fuse. If you have power there, then the next, check the fuse. You want to remove the fuse from the board and check continuity. To check continuity, you have a meter. A lot of times we'll have, with the resistance, we'll have a sound location where if you put the terminals on each end of the fuse, you will get a beeping sound, meaning there's continuity through it, meaning the fuse is good. But you need to remove the fuse in order to test it. If you have power to your control and the fuse is good, the next thing I would check is to make sure we have 14 volts DC coming out the other side of the power supply board. So putting your meter on volt DC, that's usually with a straight lines going across the top of the V. Should measure 14 volts DC coming out of the power supply board. So if you have power and then the fuse is good and you don't have 14 volts, then that power supply board is what you would need to replace. Another good thing that is a good thing to try is if you have multiple controls, you can always borrow a board out of another control and put it into this control that has troubles to make sure that that is the issue. To remove the power supply board, just remove the screws connecting it to the back plate and the 3 screws on the right and your main power coming in, and you can replace the power supply board.